Jazz on my mind, coast to coast. Broadcasting live from the Paradise Palms, Wilmington, Delaware. I'm Howard Watkins, and here is your host, Richard Blackwell.
Thank you, Howard, and welcome to Jazz on My Mind. Coast to coast, I'm Richard Blackwell. This is the show that is dedicated to jazz lovers around the world. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m., 7 o'clock Pacific time, we bring you jazz events from Los Angeles to New York, along with performances and jazz chats with the legends, current and upcoming jazz stars. And tonight, get ready, you jazz heads, for a great show. Because tonight, we've got a live performance from the legendary jazz vocalist, Kitty Mayo. Also tonight, with us will be radio personality Steve Leach from 91.3 FM WVUD. And wait, there's more. Also with us tonight from the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch, which happens every third Sunday here in Wilmington, Delaware, Brenda Smith. But first, I like to say I want to dedicate tonight's show to a man who was an outstanding father, the best father that any boy could have. And not only that, he was the biggest jazz lover in the world. My dad, Joseph Eugene Blackwell, passed away on December 4th. And I want you to know, Dad, you will always be in my heart, and I'll love you forever. Now, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my co-host, Mr. Larry Unthank, to Jazz on My Mind.
How are you, Richard?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Larry. Let me start off by asking you, how have you been doing?
I've been doing much better.
Yeah, you look great.
Well, my mustache is growing back. So
that's a good thing.
That's a plus.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know Larry's been on the show just about every episode when you were feeling well enough to participate this season, and we're so thankful to have you. And we're going to keep you in our prayers that your health continues to get better. And
well, it's working. I can feel the prayers all around me.
Yeah.
And when I have my energy up, I'm able to do what we're doing today.
Yeah, which is a blessing for me to have you here.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a blessing for me to be above ground and on the scene.
Yeah. So you're here with me tonight. We got a great show.
Yeah, you got Kitty on tonight.
Kitty Mayo's on tonight. Brenda Smith, Steve Leach. You're with us, and I understand you're going to play a little bit with Kitty's band tonight.
That would be great, and as long as we can I can stay in key with them. It should be, it should be non-threatening and
a joy to listen to.
And hopefully a joy to listen to.
All right, well, stick around. Don't go in there because we got somebody coming up next.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome a young lady who is doing her part to keep jazz alive here in Wilmington, Delaware. She's on the entertainment committee for the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch, which happens at the Crystal Center Ballroom here in Wilmington, Delaware. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Brenda Smith to Jazz on My Mind. Come on down and hold that mic up. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad you came. We've been trying to get you on the show for a while. Because the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch, because first of all, let me begin at the beginning. The whole premise of this show is to keep jazz alive. And anyone who is doing that, I'm happy to have you on the show. So thanks for being here today.
Glad to be here, Richard.
My pleasure. Now, I introduced you as a member of the entertainment committee for the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch. It happens every third Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, here in Wilmington, Delaware. And this is where people get together every third Sunday of the month. They hear some great jazz, and they have some of the best food in town. Now, I say that you're on the committee, but you're more than that. You're one of the main people that makes it happen every week. Talk about what goes on and what the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch means to you.
Well, Richard, I love the people that come. And every third Sunday, we have about 100 people that come from church, come to have a nice meal, and they come to listen to the different jazz bands that come.
Right.
And I can say that I can't pick one over the rest because I love them all.
Right.
You know, they come and do their thing.
Yeah. And you help organize that situation, and my hat goes off to you. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm blessed to be the host of the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch at the Crystal Center every third Sunday. And we've been doing it now, Brenda. It'll be, 2 years, I think, coming up in March of 2012. That's an incredible run.
Yes, it is.
And I'm proud to be working with you for that time.
Well, I couldn't do it all without you. I mean, I can pull it together, but
Right.
You keep it going. And a lot of people call you the man with the $1 million voice.
Please.
So you just kind of just fall right in there with the jazz group. We waiting for you to sing a song.
Now that you'll be waiting a long time. I'm a talker. I'm not a singer. Now, I know that you've been in this city for a long time. Is this where you were born, Brenda?
Yes.
So it's got to mean a lot to you to keep jazz alive, to have an event like the Third Sunday Jazz Banquet that we do. That's got to mean a lot to you to have people come and have a great time every third Sunday of the month.
Well, you know, what I can really say is that we have all ages that come. And being born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware, I have seen friends that I known as a kid that has come and love jazz. And, you know, we do a survey, want to know what we can do better, what they like, what they didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
But we always get this one survey that has the letter C and the letter U next month.
Hey, that's
and
beautiful.
They've been there. And I look forward to seeing some. We have some regulars.
Yeah, we do. In fact, you said that we have about 100, but we average about 200 people every third Sunday at that jazz brunch that we're doing. And that's got to be outstanding.
Yes.
Now, we mentioned you as being on the committee of the Third Sunday Jazz Brunch. Also, we have the proprietor of the Crystal Center Ballroom, the main man. That's the man who makes it happen, Mr. Talbert Gwynn.
Yes.
And we have Bob Watson.
Yes.
Who's just like a dignitary
Yes.
here in this city.
He is.
And then my wife, Charlene.
Yes.
She's a big part of that as well. So we have a great team, and we want to thank everyone who has been there for coming out, and we definitely invite you to come back again and have a great time.
Absolutely.
Now, Larry Umthank is sitting next to you, and something I didn't know when I put you two on the show together, that you know Larry's sister, and you guys have a little history together.
Yeah.
Yes.
It goes back quite a ways, and some of it is forgotten. Over
Is that a
the
good
years.
thing? Is that good?
No, but you know what? I haven't seen her in maybe 20 years.
Wow.
It's been about that long.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been about that long. She used to live in the same complex as my younger sister, and they were friends, and their daughters were friends. But one thing I wanted to speak on was the fact that your participation in having jazz at your venue is very, very important. Because as I look at your itinerary, I see several bands that are working your venue, which is a great thing because there is literally squat as far as work is concerned in terms of jazz musicians. So the fact that you're keeping this going for 2 years is extremely impressive due to the air of what do I want to say? Apathy among people about jazz. And to have a captive audience of 100 people and have some
200. It's been,
200.
Yeah, they come after church and people travel just for this particular event.
And that's great, because without that networking with the church, with your organization, and the fact that it's contributed to our efforts to make Wilmington the jazz capital of the USA, and also the Wilmington Musicians Jazz Alliance, which is pushing an agenda to have local musicians be on the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival 2012, which they've been kind of pushed aside for almost 15 years, to my knowledge, in this town. So my hat's off to you for the tenacity to be able to do that, and the fact that you got to have a good act in order to have 200 people come and see you. And that's very important. My hat's off to you both for that.
Well, you know, it is a blessing, and we thank God every third Sunday when we do this event, because it's a way to entertain the community. It's a way to keep jazz alive. It serves a lot of purposes.
It's a way to keep musicians on.
And the musicians are working. So it's a win-win situation all the way around. Now, coming up this month, the month of December, the third Sunday Jazz Family Banquet, as it's called, we will feature jazz by an excellent local smooth jazz group called Anaya. They're going to be performing in December. And I think in January, if we can give the schedule for the upcoming year, 2012, January, we're going to have an outstanding vocalist by the name of Kim Pender Garner. She's going to be performing, and she always packs the house when she's at the Crystal Center. And the month of February, we've got the legendary drummer, Mr. Lucky Thompson, and the Budessa brothers. They were there last year, did an outstanding job. And the month of March, we're going to feature some real straight-ahead jazz with a local group called Infinity. And they've been on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Infinity is an outstanding group. And in the month of April, we're going to have someone coming up from Boston, my man Wally Ali and his band, which is called The Biggest Little Band in the World.
Great.
So we've got a lot of great things happening, and it's going to be a great new year coming up in 2012. So we invite everyone to come to the Crystal Center, which is, the address is 728 Philadelphia Pike in Wilmington, Delaware. It happens every third Sunday. And Brenda, what are the times that we do it? I'll let you do some talking. I didn't bring you on here just to look pretty.
The time is Sunday from 3 o'clock until 5:30.
Okay, and give the time again, from 3 o'clock until
5:30 p.m.
All right. And the Crystal Center, you can log on to their website, which is the
www.thecrystalcenter.com.
All right. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, coming up the month of December, December 18th is going to be the Smooth Jazz of Anaya, plus the best food in the world. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Brenda, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Richard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brenda Smith from the Crystal Center, third Sunday Jazz Brunch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Coming up, we're going to chat with an outstanding friend of jazz, Mr. Steve Leach, radio personality from 91.3 FM WVUD. Steve is going to be coming up in just a couple of minutes. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get that pen and paper ready, because you know what happens every week at this time. It's time now for This Week in Jazz for the West Coast. And we're going to start in Los Angeles, where jazz happens, and it is hopping. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start off in L.A. with the Catalina Bar and Grill. Now, jazz is always happening at the Catalina Bar and Grill 7 days a week. They're known for some great jazz there. The Catalina Bar and Grill is located at 6725 Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, California. To find out what's happening this week and the events and times, just log on to the Catalina Bar and Grill website, which is theCatalinaBarandGrill.com. And when you talk about some great jazz in Los Angeles, you can't forget about one of my favorite spots, which is the World Stage. The World Stage always has some great jazz because that's the house that was built by legendary drummer Mr. Billy Higgins. The World Stage is located at 4344 Degnan Avenue in Los Angeles. That area is called Leimert Park. The World Stage also has a fantastic youth jazz workshop. So for more information, call my good friend Mr. Matt Gibson at the World Stage. That number is area code 323 and the number 293-2451. And for our viewers in the Midwest, Cleveland, Ohio has an outstanding jazz club, and it's called Nighttown. They're located at 12387 Cedar Road in Cleveland, Ohio. You can reach them by calling area code 216 and the number 795-0550. And the good city of Chicago has a great jazz spot called the Green Mill Cocktail Lounge. They're located at 4802 North Broadway in Chicago. You can reach them by calling area code 773 and the number 878-5552. And you can't forget about St. Louis, Missouri, where some people say is the birthplace of blues and jazz. They've got a great jazz club in St. Louis, and it's called Jazz at the Bistro. They're located at 3536 Washington Avenue in St. Louis. You can check them out by logging on to their website, which is jazzatthebistro.com. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, for all the great jazz events from Los Angeles to New York, just log on to our website, which is www.jazzonmymind.com. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together and let's welcome a great friend of jazz and a great friend to Jazz on My Mind. From radio station WVUD, which is 91.3 FM, my good friend, radio personality, Steve Leach to Jazz.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
Steve, I got to say, welcome back. I don't know who's been on the show more this season, you or Larry Unthan, but it's always great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Now, at WVUD, the last time we were here, we talked about how the radio station, WVUD 91.3, has increased its wattage, and you are now circulating, hitting a wide area, a bigger area, with jazz.
Right. We've gone up from 1,000 watts, which barely covered the area between Wilmington and Newark, to 8,000 watts, or 6,000 watts, I'm sorry. And we've covered now the entire county of Newcastle County and some of the outlying regions. And we're getting our signal out, and hopefully we'll get some more listeners and get some more fans of jazz.
I'm sure you will. Now, on the radio, you're known as Even Steven.
That's right.
I love that handle. Isn't that good, Larry?
Yeah, I love it.
Even Steven.
Yeah.
Now, Even Steven, what goes on your radio program on WVUD? Let the Jazz on My Mind viewers, what kind of programming they can expect when they listen to your program.
Well, the name of the program is Bop Time. It runs from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Saturday. And I do a variety of things. I play a variety of music, not only jazz, but I also play some rhythm and blues and some rock and roll. Sometimes I might even play some show music or American classical music.
Right.
I try to program it so that the music has a context.
There you go.
I may try to give it a historical context. I'll bring in a guest and we'll talk about the music. Sometimes I even do a little bit of comedy or skits or shtick or whatever you want to call it. I have a cast who comes in and does some roles, and just to try to demonstrate some points about history and the music, and to keep our listeners off guard a little bit. I do a little bit of provoking, and I try to keep it interesting. The one rule that I kind of keep to is I try to make it the kind of radio program I like to hear.
There you go. There you go.
So it's got a lot of things going for it.
Well, you know, me being a broadcaster myself, being on the radio so many years in Los Angeles, that was my same goal, was to give people what I will, you know, in other words, make my show appeasable to everyone. I feel as though that as a broadcaster, you have to have the people's interest in mind.
That's true. That's true. And you know, I grew up in Wilmington. I sort of have a good sense of the community and
the history.
And the history.
Yeah.
Definitely. The history is really important because the music is basically the soundtrack of history.
Yeah.
And there's so much history in Wilmington of all sorts, and I try to bring it all in. And it's been a journey of discovery for me.
Now, one of the things I like about your program, and I've listened to your program a couple of times, is the fact that it's not specialized. It's like when I was young and we were all young, there was no FM radio.
Right.
So anything
That's right.
you heard came across an AM radio, and you never knew what was going to happen next. You could hear the Supremes, and then you could hear Roger Miller,
Right.
you know, and then you could hear Conway Twitty,
Right.
then Donna Ross, and on and on. So you never knew what was coming up next, which was, to me, the intriguing part of AM radio. And FM radio was something that was almost alien.
Right. They played Madhavani, right?
Yeah, they played anything but what people wanted to listen to. So I like the fact that your show is unpredictable and historical, and you along with my friend Larry Williams, who just sent me an email of an old Isley Brothers song from the mid-'50s. So, you know, my hat's off to you for your knowledge and your expertise at this and your determination to get this stuff out here. Together we'll make this...
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work. Jazz City, USA.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Larry has just discovered Facebook, and so he's posting all these old songs on Facebook.
Is that what's going on? Is that why I'm getting all this stuff?
And you know, it's and having you two gentlemen on the show, on the program tonight, because you hit it on the head, Stephen, and you, Larry, as well. The reason this show and being in Wilmington is important to me is because of its rich history.
Right.
And I have learned an awful lot from both of you gentlemen, as well as all these tremendous musicians who perform here. Now, we have been discussing off camera, formulating a correlation, a solidarity of all the jazz musicians here, because you guys are some of the greatest, Larry, I think. And Stephen, it's got to be a pleasure for you to be able to play their music.
Certainly is.
And we are trying to formulate a jazz alliance of all the local jazz musicians. And in fact, last Saturday, they met at my house, and you're invited to come to the next meeting. And the whole premise of the meeting was to form a correlation, which we came up with the name, which is now we're known as the Wilmington Jazz Musicians Alliance. And the whole premise is to get these musicians working in every aspect, in every venue that we possibly can. And instead of trying to do it individually, which a lot of these musicians were doing in the past, we thought it would be a great idea to pull it together and let's do this as a group. And so far, it looked like we're moving full speed ahead.
We're doing good, I think, Richard. One of the problems is that most musicians don't have management, and that limits them to the venues and the concert atmosphere that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are elements that have been constantly pushing back on this particular idea.
Yes.
But I think that we've got some momentum. And the other thing I wanted to add, this man is one of the few people around the tri-state area that will play your original music.
Yes, he does.
And
Stephen
that-
does. Yeah.
That is so important.
We got some music right here.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you to turn your cell phone on television.
One thing that
I'm sorry. I'm guilty. I stand accused.
We're going to make you play your sax just for that blunder. So that's going to be, you're going to have to play later for that mistake.
I don't ever, it's better to play than not to play.
There you go. Stephen, what were you going to say?
Yeah, we're also talking, we're on the ground floor of using the radio station to record some of the local jazz. And we're thinking of maybe on Sundays getting some musicians in the station and getting these recordings out so that people can hear them and that they'll be available to other musicians. And if you have a community that doesn't hear the jazz on a large scale,
Right.
it really doesn't work. It's really a kind of an addition to getting the jazz out there. If we can get it all broadcast on the radio,
Exactly.
and hopefully we'll work with some of our other DJs at the radio station that do the jazz in the evenings. There's a weekly jazz program during the week called Avenue C that runs from 9 to 11. And hopefully we can get some of them on board too.
That'd be great.
And it's very important, it's very vital, I think, to have it in this town, because this is the home of the great Clifford Brown.
That's right.
And so many other musicians, and when you speak of Clifford, you have to think of his instructor, Robert Boise Lowry. I mean, it's so many musicians, and I love being on the phone telling people in other cities and states, Wilmington, Delaware is the jazz capital of the world. And that to me is a very true statement.
That's true. Jazz goes way back in this town to the 20s, actually.
Yeah. Now, Stephen, you also have a portion on your show called the Clifford's Corner.
Yeah, that's actually it's coming up this Saturday. It's every second Saturday, and I do have a guest. Larry Williams is usually on with me. He's kind of developed into the co-host. Maurice Sims was supposed to be on, but he called me today and said he's going to get on an airplane on Saturday morning to go to Ohio.
And ladies and gentlemen,
That's Maurice.
Maurice Sims is a young man who we all love and admire. He was on the radio here for many, many, many years. His presence is still felt in the jazz community. Outstanding person. He's been on the show.
Yeah, Maurice was the very first disc jockey in Wilmington to play a Clifford Brown recording.
And that's got to be a feather in his hat.
Milestone,
Yeah. Now, before you go, Stephen, let the audience know when they can listen to your radio program.
Well, it's 6 a.m. That's when it begins every Saturday morning. And we run till 10 o'clock at WVUD 91.3. And on the internet for all of you who are outside our listening area at WVUD.org.
All right, my man, Steve. Well, I want to wish you the best. You know you're always welcome to come on. We only have one more show this season, but in 13 weeks when we come back, I want you to be here with us.
All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, radio personality, Even Steven from 91.3
We're gonna be in
WVUD. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. Stephen Leach, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to chat with tonight's musical guest, Kitty Mayo, and her fantastic musicians. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you about an out-of-sight Caribbean restaurant located here in this wonderful city of Wilmington, Delaware. In fact, This is where we do our show every Wednesday night. And the restaurant is called the Paradise Palms. It's located, ladies and gentlemen, at 901 North King in downtown Wilmington, Delaware. Now, I got to tell you about this food because the food here is out of sight. That's because the head chef, Mr. Wendell, prepares every dish with the love of Jamaica. Dishes like jerk chicken, red beans and rice, cabbage, baked fish, greens, and so much more. So, the next time your taste buds say Caribbean, you gotta come on down to the Paradise Palms. Once again, the address is 901 North King in downtown Wilmington, Delaware. You can reach him by telephone by calling area code 302 and the number 377-2528. That number again, 302-377-2528. You can also check out the Paradise Palms on their website, which is paradisepalms.com. Check them out. You're going to love their food. Oh, it's so great. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together and let's welcome the one and only jazz vocalist, Miss Kitty Mayo, to Jazz on My Mind. Kitty.
Thank you. Yes. Hi. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
You too.
And tonight you brought some friends with you this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce the gentleman who's going to be playing with you tonight? Who
This
are
is
these?
Al Price. He's
Al
on
Price
bass. Yes.
on bass. Thank you, Al.
Chuck Sutter's on guitar.
Chuck. All right.
And over there is Ben Clowers on drums.
Ben, thank you, gentlemen, for coming out tonight. Now, Kitty, you were on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And we talked about you coming on and performing tonight.
Right.
What have you been doing since Jazz on My Mind seeing you the last time? What have you been up to?
I did that Nomad gig, and it turned out so fantastic.
Yeah.
I sent out all these texts and emails. When you are playing, send out the info so they
Yeah.
know. And it was a slow night, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we
Uh-huh.
had standing room only at one point in time.
Beautiful,
It was really
beautiful.
nice. And a lot of young people came out. You know I'm a teacher.
Yes.
So as a vocal coach, and a lot of my students came and brought people with them too. So
That's
it was nice.
outstanding. You had a great night.
Yeah, it was good.
Now, you have been singing since you were a young girl.
Oh, since I was a baby.
Let's talk about the beginning. Where did it all begin for you?
My mother and father had a roadhouse called Angie's
Uh-huh.
in Cloverdale, Illinois.
Right, right.
And my mother was a singer and played 7 instruments.
Whoa.
And she started me singing there with her.
Yeah.
As I've started my children and grandchildren, all my children play and my grandchildren sing and so all that. Hopefully they'll support me one day.
Now, you've got 3 wonderful musicians.
Oh, they're fabulous.
Do you have a name for the group? What do you call
I
yourself?
call my band the Empress Band, but sometimes the musicians rotate and fluctuate. They
Right.
play with other people.
Right.
Al Price is one of the finest bass players I know, and it's a privilege to have him. And Chuck and Sutter and I just hooked up, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, I
and
heard
of course,
you.
Benny's my dear friend, and we've been playing off and on for a long time. And we're all in different bands, you know.
Yeah.
I play up in Pennsylvania with a guy called Bobby Lenti up there, and Bobby and I have been playing together since 1985.
That's
So it's
amazing.
a fun time.
Now, it's amazing because we were talking earlier how our paths have crossed
Oh, yeah.
each other.
It's amazing.
I was born
yeah.
and raised in Chicago, spent 35 years in
Where
Los
were you
Angeles.
raised? What neighborhood?
I was in the South Shore area in
Oh,
Chicago.
okay.
You spent time in Chicago.
Right.
You spent time in L.A. And here we are in the jazz capital
Did you
of
go
the
to
world.
school in Chicago?
South Shore High School.
Oh, I went to St. Mary's.
Yes,
On
Cat-
Taylor
had to
and
be-
Damon. Yeah, a convent school. It was bad. Needed to be punished, you know, or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Now, Al, you are the bass player.
Yep.
Now, how long have you been playing bass, Al?
I'm going to date myself here.
That's okay. Go ahead.
About 40 years.
Wow. Who were some of the people that influenced your bass player?
Ray Brown was one of my favorites.
Okay,
in
okay.
Real jazz players, and then for electric players, I love Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah, yeah.
Stanley Clark, and
Yes.
that kind of thing. But Jaco is pretty much my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it gigging with Kitty?
Oh, it's great. It's never a dull moment.
That I believe.
Yeah, she keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Chuck, and Al, if you don't mind passing the mic. Chuck, you are the lead guitarist.
That's right.
How long have you been playing? It should be okay. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing about the same length of time
About
as
40
Al. I'm
years,
dating
huh?
myself too.
Yeah.
Right.
And is it fun playing with
Oh
kids?
yeah, it's great. These guys
Thank
have
you.
been around for
Outstanding.
years.
Huh?
And,
Who were some of your early influences in your musical career?
Early on, I just loved the blues, and I started off by getting into that. Magic Sam's one of my big heroes, and the Allman Brothers and their bluesy phase. And through them, I discovered that they were playing these ideas that related more to John Coltrane and Miles Davis and the modal things they were doing. So I got into that, and therefore some of the local players that are legends like Pat Martino and Dennis Sandola and people like that.
That's beautiful. Now, to your immediate left, and I think you can pass the microphone over to Benny. Benny, how you doing tonight, sir? You okay?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Now, you are the drummer tonight. How long have you been playing?
23 years.
23. Anybody who influenced you? Anybody that's on the top of your head that you dug listening to as you started your career?
Yeah, Max Roach,
Man,
Louis Bellson,
Yeah.
Dennis Chambers, and Joe Shields.
Yeah. And Joe Shields, your brother, legendary Joe Shields.
Oh, he's fabulous.
Well, you know, we're looking forward to you guys' performance tonight. You're going to do several songs. Now, where are you going to be appearing, Kitty, over the next couple of months or into next year? Where are you
Aqua
gonna
Soul in Newark.
That's a beautiful place for
Yes,
jazz.
it is. It's fun.
You're going to be performing there?
Yes, and then also at the James Street pub. So we're doing, and we'll be back at the Nomad.
And the Nomad is located here in Wilmington,
Right.
Delaware, one of the hottest new jazz spots in Wilmington, Delaware. So you're going to be pretty busy.
I hope so. From your mouth to God's ears.
Okay. Now, if someone wants to get in touch with you, if they want to stay in tune with Kitty, how can someone follow your?
Go to Kitty Mayo Blues at gmail.com.
And then that way they can follow you.
You can always follow
Stay
me,
in
yep.
touch with you.
Yep.
And if any booking people are out there and they want to book you, that's where you can get in touch with Kitty.
Yeah, I'm going to Austin, Texas tomorrow, so if you're out there in Austin, book us there.
Now, you guys are going to do a couple of songs for us tonight.
Right.
We're really excited about that, and we can't wait to hear you sing.
Thank you.
All right. Benny, also Chuck, Al, Kitty Mayo, I want to thank you guys and get ready to do your thing, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, Kitty Mayo on Jazz on My Mind. Stay tuned. They're going to be performing in just a couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen. But first, I want you to grab that pen and paper because right now it's time for me to give you this week's jazz events for the East Coast. And let's begin with tomorrow night, Thursday night. Well, you know it happens each and every Thursday. It's the Thursday Night Jazz Party, and it happens at Basil Bar and Grill, located at 422 Delaware Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware. Now the party begins at 8 o'clock and is hosted by yours truly. And tomorrow night, the music is going to be supplied by one of the most premier bands on the East Coast called G2. That's going to be happening tomorrow night. So if you're in the tri-state area, come on down to Basil's tomorrow, Thursday night, for the jazz party. Once again, the address, 422 Delaware Avenue. Is inside the Sheraton Hotel in Wilmington, Delaware. Also, ladies and gentlemen, for jazz at its finest, you got to check out the Nomad Jazz Bar. Kitty and I were just talking about the Nomad. They're located at 905 North Orange in Wilmington, Delaware. It's the hottest new jazz spot, and every Friday and Saturday night, they got some great live jazz performances. You can find out what's happening at the Nomad by calling area code 302 and the number 655-8800. And when you go by the Nomad, be sure to tell my good friends Dave and his lovely wife Linda Vandiver I said hello. And it's also the place where my man Harry Spencer hangs out. It's called the Nomad. And ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday. It's the world-famous Jazz Brunch at Warm Daddy's, located at 1400 Columbus Avenue in Philadelphia. The food at Warm Daddy's is always delicious, and the jazz is out of sight. Once again, it's Warm Daddy's at 1400 Columbus in Philadelphia. You can reach Warm Daddy's by calling area code 215 and the number 462-2000. And if you're looking for some great jazz on the radio, every Monday morning from 2 until 5 o'clock, you can listen to my friend Fawn A as she plays some of the best straight-ahead jazz. You can catch Fawn A. She's on WPFW, which is 89.3 FM out of Washington, D.C. Now, you can listen to Fawn A anywhere in the world by logging on to WPFW.org. Once again, that's Fawn A on the radio. And if you're looking for some jazz on a Monday night, you got to check out my good friend Tony Williams and his Monday Night Jazz Jam. That happens at the spot is called the La Rose Social Club, and they're located at 5531 Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia. The jazz begins at 6 until 11 p.m. And you can always go and check out the legendary saxophonist, Mr. Tony Williams. And Atlanta, that's right, let's travel down south a little bit. Atlanta has a hot jazz spot, and it's called Cafe 290. Every Sunday, they have their own Sunday Jazz Brunch. For more information, you can call Cafe 290 at area code 404 and the number 256-3942. That's Cafe 290. And if you talk about jazz, you can't forget the Big Apple. They've got an outstanding jazz club called the Town Hall Jazz Club. They're located at 131 West 3rd in New York. For their events and times, just call area code 212 and the number 475-8592. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, for all the great jazz events from Los Angeles to New York, just log on to our website, which is jazzonmymind.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you are ready for an outstanding jazz performance, and we've got one coming up for you. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together for Mr. Chuck Sutter on guitar, Mr. Al Price on bass, and Benny Clouders on drums, and of course, Kitty Mayo on vocals. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are, Kitty Mayo on Jazz on My Mind.
Yeah.
Sisters.
It's not the pale moon that excites me, thrills and delights me. Oh, no, it's just the nearness of you. It isn't your sweet conversation that brings me this sensation. Oh, no. It's just the nearness of you. When you're in my arms, and I feel you so close to me. Oh, my wildest dreams, they come true. I need no soft black eyes to enchant me. If you would only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight. I want to feel in the night the nearness of you. L. Price. When you're in my arms, and I feel you so close to me. Oh, my wildest dreams, oh, they come true. Oh, yes, they do. I need your soft black eyes to enchant me. If you would only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight. I want to feel in that night, oh, the nearness of you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if we can get Larry Unfit up here. Unsync. Come on, Nick. On sax. We're going to do a blues tune for you. From Magic. Yeah. It's called A Teeny Weeny Bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. All right. You feel I don't want much, baby. Oh, I just want a little bit. I don't want it all, child. Oh, come give me a little bit. Oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. Come on over here, baby, and slip me a kiss. Oh, baby, do it just like this now. Oh, teeny weeny bit, an eeny weeny bit of your love. I want you forever, child, not just for peace of mind. Oh, forever and ever till the end of time. Oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. Baby, that's Larry Unthing, yeah. Yeah. Chuck Sutter. Yeah. All right. Back down, Joe. Yeah. I want you forever, baby. Not just for being mine. Oh, forever and ever till the end of time. Oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. A little bit of your love, baby. Oh, oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. Two more. Oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. Next time. Oh, teeny weeny bit, eeny weeny bit of your love. you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're going to do an original tune for you. It's called Mean and Evil. I'm a mean woman, baby. You're looking at an evil one. Yeah, I'm a mean woman, baby. You're looking at an evil one. You know I was born to make a man suffer, honey. Oh, let me tell you now. You could be the one. I like to see you cry. I like the tears running right down your sweet face. Right down your face, baby. I like to see you crying, baby. Tears running right down your face. 'Cause I'm a mean and evil woman. You're looking at her. Oh, I am truly an evil girl. Oh, I can keep you happy, totally satisfied. But it gives me such pleasure, baby, to see a man down on his knees, down on your knees. Honey, come on now. Oh, beg me. 'Cause I'm a mean woman, baby. You're looking at her. I am truly an evil one. Come on now. Hey. me such pleasure, baby, to see a man down on his knees, down on your knees. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back at me. 'Cause I'm a mean woman, sugar. I'm not to satisfy you. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's not it ain't me, honey. Don't you even count on it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Larry. I'm there. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in here, guys. Stay with me, Larry. Man, Stephen, come on in. Kitty, outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
Let's give her another big round of applause,
Thank you.
ladies and
Thank you
gentlemen.
very much.
Kitty
Appreciate
Mayo, also Al Price on bass, my man Benny Cloudard on drums. Thank you, Benny. And also Chuck Sutter on lead guitar, and special guest with her tonight, Mr. Larry Unthank.
A pleasure.
Man.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Kitty, I got to tell you, sounding great, outstanding. I wish you the best. Once
Thank
again,
you.
tell the audience how they can follow you. Where can they catch
Just
you?
send me an email at kittymailblues@gmail.com, and I'll answer you and tell you everything that's going on. Thank you.
What about these musicians? Are they outstanding?
Oh, they're more than
You love those. I
outstanding.
can
Yeah,
tell
do.
you love these
Yeah, I
guys.
love, you got to like playing with good music.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to join us next week as we will have our final episode in our third season. Join us next week as we will have, from our video vault, we're going to feature special guest, spoken word artist, Sweet Franchon. Also, we're going to have someone that everybody knows and love. Linda Sobieski is going to be on. She can tell you everything about jazz here in Wilmington, Delaware. Dick Grafton's going to be on. We're going to have just a plethora of people on next week because we're going to celebrate our final episode of this season. And it doesn't stop there. We're going to have a special video performance with some wonderful jazz Christmas music. You got to watch that. It's going to be sang by a very special guest vocalist. That's coming up next week. Also, ladies and gentlemen, for more jazz entertainment, be sure to check out our website, which is jazzonmymind.com. Log on to the website and become a member as we do our part in keeping jazz alive. Don't forget, you can also like us on Facebook. I'd like to thank the crew tonight. I'd like to thank our director, Mr. Bernard Parker, our great director of sound, Mr. Vincent Atkins, and our floor manager, Shell Lynn. Hey, great job, you guys.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Kitty Mayo and my man, Even Steven, from WVUD 91.3, my co-host, Larry Unthank.
Thank you.
I'm Richard Blackwell, and we want to thank you for watching
Jazz on my mind.
mind.